Hi, I'm Reverend Sheena Metal, and welcome to Saturday Night Spiritual. We're here on the second Saturday of every month, right here on all of the social media platforms for Founders Metropolitan Community Church. I'm the Interfaith Staff Pastor here at Founders MCC, and so thrilled and honored to be a part of everything that happens here at this wonderful church and at this wonderful denomination. For somebody who my whole life would have told you I was not a church person, this place, with the guidance of Spirit, God, Source, Energy, made me a believer. For the first time, I was baptized. For the first time, I became a member of a church. I actually took a class to become a member of a church, of course, on staff at a church for the first time. I appreciate them taking me on, a new minister. Awesome. I appreciate that. I appreciate all the wonderful things I've learned from all the wonderful people here. Our senior pastor, Keith Mazingo, our Spanish-speaking ministries head, Reverend Alejandro Escoto, the wonderful social justice minister here, Reverend Lucia Chappelle, of course, my dearly departed Reverend Steve Peters. We did a memorial service for him last month on Saturday Night Spiritual with some people that I met him through and that I know we both loved. It's Saturday Night Spiritual's most popular little deacon, Brother Cullen, running by the camera for you all. I give you once again, Brother Cullen. He's out, and he is asking you to please help us to help you to help others and to donate to Founders Metropolitan Community Church, and make sure you put Saturday Night Spiritual in there. We're at foundersmcc.org. Oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening. We're at SaturdayNightSpiritual.com is our community page. If you want to see past services, I have them all archived at Rev Sheena, foundersmcc.com. And then, of course, Founders has a wonderful YouTube page, Facebook page, and just a fantastic, wonderful, expansive website that is just amazing. And I look forward to you checking all of that out and to checking out some past services to see what we're talking about. Sometimes I do a big thing and I've got people. This time it was just me. August tends to be kind of a sleepy month where everybody's off on vacations and doing things. So this time it's just me. We're going to be talking about healing, which I'm really excited about. But before we do, also I'm at SheenaMetalSpiritual.com if you want to know more about me. And we're going to put Deacon Cullen down. Brother Cullen's going to go down for a minute. He goes where mommy goes, and I didn't lock him out today because I know sometimes you all like seeing him here. Anyway, people always ask me, I get asked a bunch of questions in my life that are kind of repeaters. And one of them is, what is interfaith? And it fascinates me that people don't understand still the concept of what interfaith spirituality is. To me, it's so simple because we're all interfaith. You know, if you live in the world and you're Jewish and your neighbors are Christian, and you acknowledge that you are a Jewish person, but you acknowledge that they can live next door and be Christian people, then guess what? You're interfaith. Interfaith is simply the acknowledgement that it all exists on the earth. That's all interfaith is. It's believing in your right and everyone's right to believe whatever they want to believe about whatever they want to believe. Whereas in some indoctrined religions, right, you're sort of encouraged to believe in the idea of us and them. Believe that your way to God is the way to God, and everybody else's way to God is wrong. In interfaith spirituality, you believe that all roads paved in good lead us to the light. And that sometimes somebody will choose to be more than, sometimes somebody will choose to be 5 or 6 different things. I think I'm probably 20 different things mashed together, and deciding from what kind of spirituality you take the different kinds of your own spiritual palette that you are designing. Pastor Keith likes when I talk about it as the spiritual salad bar, but it really is. I mean, if you go to a salad bar, you're not going to be able to eat everything on the salad bar, and you probably don't even want it. But you're allowed to pick and choose the things that you like and take as much as you want. I'll take a little bit of carrots. I love carrots. But on a salad bar, I will take a heap load of mushrooms. So let's say you consider yourself to be mostly Christian, but you're a little New Age. Okay, that's your little bit of carrots. And we're creating our own plate at a salad bar at the same way we create our spiritual palate with what we believe. If you are mostly a person of the Muslim faith and you decide to become interested in collecting crystals, and let's say you go out and you buy 3 crystals. You've got a quartz, a rose quartz, and an amethyst quartz crystal, and you're charging them in the moonlight, and you're bathing them and cleansing them in salt water, and you're using them when you sleep, and you're putting them out when you go to work, and you're putting them in different environments for healing. Now, that doesn't mean you're now 50% crystal worshiper, and now you're only 50% Muslim. No, you can decide how much of your palate is taken up with what. And that's the beautiful thing about interfaith spirituality, is there are no rules, and it can change. You can be just a little bit Buddhist, and 10 years later, you can be a lot Buddhist. As you grow and evolve, we're learning so much with MCC being a church that was founded by people in the queer community. We're learning so much now that queer is a spectrum, right? Different people are different things, and different people are different conglomerations of different things. And if you talk to somebody who's like 18, 19 years old, their sexuality might have 36 letters in it, like for real. Because as different things appeal to them, they are grabbing the letters that apply to them. I think we are now learning at the same time that spirituality is also a spectrum. And that you have a right to pull from whatever you want, whenever you want, whatever you want, and it's okay. And I think it's very different from how a lot of people were raised, because I think people who were, quote unquote, in the church, you're told, right? You have to be this, you have to be this, you have to believe this happens, these are your holidays, and if anybody tries to say anything different, there's something wrong with them, or they're going to hell. So we grow up fearing the idea that you can be more than one thing. And that, so let's say your whole life were straight. And then you had a homosexual relationship with someone. And then you went back and had heterosexual relationships. Now, was it just that person? Are you bisexual? Are you mostly homosexual? For whatever reason, you've mostly been in heterosexual relationships? Well, guess what? You can be all of those things, and it's nobody's business. You decide what you are. You decide how you identify. Do you now want to identify as bisexual or not? Your decision. It is the same thing with your spirituality. We decide. We decide how we want to identify ourselves, and nobody can tell us it's wrong. So then the interfaith spirituality comes along, right? And in the interfaith spirituality, guess what? It's all good. You can be anything you want, and you don't have to apologize to anyone, because it's all under the blanket of Source, God, higher power, right? Whatever you want to call it, Great Spirit, universe, the energy in the sky, whatever you want to call it. That is where it all comes from. And that energy, that source, that benevolent force of good made you and me, but also made Christianity, made Judaism, made the Muslim faith, made Buddhism, made Hinduism, made New Age, made Mormons, made everything. We're all made from that same source, and we're all on the earth having a similar experience, having a human experience as one human family. How we choose to identify, that is completely between us and our God. And everything is okay. So right behind me here there's a backdrop. If you moved that curtain, if you looked behind the curtain, like in The Wizard of Oz, you would find my closet. If you opened my closet, you would not find me, because I came out of the closet many, many decades ago. If you opened my closet, you would find, because I color coordinate my clothes in the way that only somebody with a Virgo rising could. And if you if you look in my closet, you will see that one side is black and one side is white. And over here, I have a couple of red shirts because I'm an Aries and I'm a cardinal red, and red is my color, and I look good in red, but I don't have a lot of it. And then the entire rest of my closet is from light to dark, pinks and purples, and that's it. There is nothing green in my closet. I think I have like 1 or 2 denim shirts. There is nothing brown in my closet. There's nothing yellow in my closet. There's no orange in my closet. There's no blue in my closet. I only like pink, purple, and white and black, and sometimes red. Well, that's okay. So let's say you come over and you look in my closet and you say, oh, well, my closet's all brown and it's green and it's mustard color, muted tones, olives. Mine's mostly bright tones. Great. That's your thing and this is my thing. Now, at some point you decide, I don't want to wear orange anymore. I'm throwing all the orange out and I'm buying pink. Okay. This is exactly how your spirituality is. Anybody who tried to tell you that you're stuck in one spirituality for your entire life, well, that sort of defeats the idea of evolvement and evolution and enlightenment. And those are the 3 main things that we are here on the earth to do, are to evolve, become more enlightened, and further become more educated, and further human evolution in general. So don't ever let anybody tell you you're not interfaith. Because if you believe that other religions and faiths exist and that's all good with you, then you are. And that's what we do here. This is a universal, light-based, love-filled service. And we talk about something that applies to everyone every month. So 2 apologies. First, my neighborhood is having horrible Wi-Fi outages. So if it pauses, I'm trying to hold my face and come right back where I was because the internet's dropping and coming back. So hopefully at the end, when people watch the archive, they won't even notice. Secondly, Brother Cullen is full of it today. He's a little crazy today. So, in astrology, they talk about the Lion's Gate that happens kind of on both sides of 8/8, which is August 8th. So we're on the coming out of the Lion's Gate. It's a planetary alignment. And it tends to make people and certainly Brother Cullen has been full of it for days. As a matter of fact, every night before I go to bed, usually right before I go to bed, he crawls on the bed with me and goes to sleep. But this last couple of days, he's got this little, like a little wiffle ball, and it has a bell in it. He has just been kicking that thing across the foyer and chasing it and kicking it. It's like trying to go to sleep with Marley's ghost from A Christmas Carol wandering around in your foyer. So if he comes back up and wants some snuggles or wants to bite my cheek, know that that's just what's happening. So let's talk about healing. This is an interesting time because we're in the Lion's Gate. We're also in the middle of a Mercury retrograde, which is Mercury runs communication. This summer has been really all this year, but especially since the summer began, I've been on this enormous journey of healing myself. And in my spiritual practice, which a lot is about, a lot of the questions I get asked in my spiritual practice from clients is about people's interpersonal relationships with other people. Right now, that seems to be kind of energetically, as humans, a very hot button topic. People are wondering, what can I do to get out of the patterns with people that I seem to repeat? And the answer is heal yourself. It's free your mind and the rest will follow. Free your mind. I always think heal yourself and the rest will follow. Healing is so important. The healing work that we do is so important. And those of us that are empaths, those of us that are natural healers, and I don't mean professional energetic healers like I am, but I mean people who are always rushing into danger to see where they can heal or help someone. And not just professionally, like policemen and firefighters and the EMTs and people who work in hospitals and doctors. Bye, Brother Cullen. Not just that, but actual people who just naturally, the neighbor needs something, I'm on my way. I have an older relative, I'm coming to take her to the doctor. People that are naturally empaths and healers. Often we're very busy at healing what's around us, healing outside of us. And we forget to heal ourselves, to go inward and do that inner work and heal ourselves. And certainly I've been guilty of that too. The problem is I found this wonderful meme online that I just put up on my social media that I'm going to read to you. And I guess I knew this, but I just love the way that this was put, because it completely makes you think about things that sometimes you don't think about in regards to your own behaviors. It says, be careful what you tolerate. You're teaching people how to treat you. And that's something that's really been resonating with me a lot this summer. In always trying to make everything okay, and being the one who didn't want to make the waves and who didn't want to rock the boat and didn't want to cause the trouble and didn't want to be the squeaky wheel, because I'm naturally very non-confrontational. I'm naturally very shy, and that sort of energy makes me very uncomfortable. Like if I'm in the line at the grocery store and somebody is attacking the checker, trying to get something for free that we all know darn well they shouldn't have for free, this sort of uncomfortability sort of sets into my solar plexus, and I feel like I can't breathe a little bit. So I never want to be that person. I never want to be that person that makes somebody else feel unnecessarily uncomfortable. So because of that, in interpersonal relationships, I tend to smooth over, not make a fuss, not make waves, smooth over, in essence, turn the other cheek, right? But the problem is that when you repeat that pattern with a person, you basically are unconsciously telling them that their behavior was okay. You're allowing them to repeat that pattern and repeat the behavior. And, oh God, what is this? There's that wonderful Martin Luther King quote about, doing nothing is the same as being guilty of it. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So if you're not part of teaching people how in the future not to treat you poorly, then you have aided the problem. You have become part of your own problem. And the problem with this is that as your life progresses, you develop patterns in your life where you're inadvertently attracting the same kind of person because you're not putting a stop to the behaviors. You have trained people in general, as you have trained specific people, that it's okay to treat you a certain way, and you're allowing those behaviors to continue. And then because like attracts like, and that's how the universe works, and the universe is very much a mirror of your existence. In essence, you're inadvertently telling the universe, like looking in the mirror, it's so okay for people to treat me like this. And what's happening is you're now attracting people that are coming to treat you like this. So it's so important that at some point you get the healing that you need and you stop those behaviors, so that moving forward with people, you can start with a clean slate and a whole new way you want to be treated, which I think is so important and so beautiful and so necessary. So, physician, heal thyself, right? Healer, heal thyself. I came to a place this summer where I realized that I had taught people not to treat me terrific. and that it was an ongoing pattern. Now, I'm not talking about my clients for the most part. They're actually wonderful. It's hard when the people who pay you treat you better than the people who don't. And I think it really was just me taking too much, putting up with too much. I think it was just allowing people to act in a certain way and not wanting to really say, cut it out, because I don't want to be confrontational and I don't want to be, and I think so many of us are like that, right? So the problem is, if people who are good people that know how to treat someone are not saying anything and not helping other people who are not so good at treating people well, not teaching them how to treat us well, then we're suffering at the hands of their behavior, and they're continuing their behavior because nobody's telling them their behavior is wrong. It's kind of like if a bratty child was in a store and it wanted a toy and you said no, so it starts, punching the floor, it's screaming, it's holding its breath, it's telling everybody it's going to run away. I hate you, mommy, I hate you. And you're not doing anything. Or you're just freaking out. Okay, you can have the toy. Just don't get mad at mommy again. And then the next time it's the same thing. If the toy doesn't come, then the fit happens. The problem is mom then becomes frazzled and starts to come apart at the seams. But the worst thing that happens is this child is now taught that it's okay to act like a monster, and that's the way you get what you want. So the coping mechanisms of this child are completely blown off kilter because nobody's ever said, look, you're not getting the toy today. And if you don't stop screaming, we're going home and you're never getting a toy again. The kid just thinks, well, I'll just keep making a scene until somebody gives me something to be quiet. And then grows up and becomes an adult who does the same thing. So for the benefit of someone you love, you need to let people know energetically where your boundaries are, what's okay with you and what's not okay with you. And in doing that, you are healing yourself. Because if you're in a place where people around you have made you unhappy and it's a repeat pattern that the same kind of abuser keeps coming in and being abusive, the same kind of narcissist keeps coming in and being a narcissist, the same kind of self-focused person keeps coming in and being self-focused, then at some point it becomes your problem. Because you need to let them know where your boundaries are. What's that expression? Hurt me once, shame on you. Hurt me twice, shame on me. Hurt me 5,000 times, still shame on me. And now I've become unhealed being the victim of all that bad behavior. And we need to heal ourselves. And why do we let that happen? Is it because we're nice? Sure. Is it because we're non-confrontational because we don't want to be the squeaky wheel? Sure. Is it because we don't want to be that aggressive person so we go the other way? Sure. But is it also because there's a part of us inside of us that hasn't healed? And because of that, we're scared or too weak or too confused or not healthy enough to put up the kind of boundary that's like a castle wall that really sticks. It's like the three little pigs, right? The first one used the twigs and the second one used, I don't remember what. Look at me, I'm using this great analogy and I can't remember it. And then the third one used the bricks and the wolf couldn't blow the third one down. You need to become the person who reinforces the fortress that is your spiritual and emotional periphery with the bricks so you can be the little pig whose house is not knocked down. Right? And you do that by healing yourself. And you do that by loving yourself. And the best way you can build a fortress of good around yourself is with love and with spiritual connection, right? And with connection to God and with belief in you and with putting you first, you know? Because the stronger you are, the easier it is to say no to behaviors that don't serve you. And we talk a lot in the spiritual community, right, about I'm letting go of what no longer serves me. But do we really do it when it comes to interpersonal relationships with the people in our lives? It's one way to say, I'm letting go of these blue dishes. I don't like them anymore. That's fantastic. Good for you. You didn't become a hoarder today. But what about that person in your life that makes you cry every other day? Are you letting them go? And oftentimes people who are empathic, people who are healers, are also people who are addicted. And the worst addiction in the world is people. Because a bottle of whiskey or a bag of heroin or a pack of cigarettes is not going to send you a text message and beg you to take them back. It's on you whether or not you choose to re-engage. But with a person, when they're actively trying to get you to come back in their lives, and you have to resist that, it's difficult. And that's why you have to heal yourself. And healing yourself, healing your soul, and when I say heal yourself and the rest will follow, healing your soul, I mean, it does everything. It heals your mind. It heals your body. It heals your environment. It heals your relationships that are healthy. It heals obviously it heals your soul. It heals your heart. The more healed you are, in more your soul becomes healed, the stronger that you become, the more that everything around you will become healed. And certainly, and suddenly your life will become amazing in ways you never imagined, because there's so much beauty and there's so much healing, and this whole time, all he wanted was for me to hold him. Speaking of the 4-year-old that wants the toy in the store, but I guess this guy's excuse is he actually really is 2. So think about it. Start thinking about yourself as a healed person. I'm a big fan of the writing down. And I know now we take a lot of notes in our phones and our computers, and I think that's great. But I like to put the pencil to the paper or the pen to the paper and make a list of all the things within you that you would like to heal. All of the things within you that you think can be and need to be healed. And then look at that list and find something on that list, because I know there's something there. Find something on that list that you can start with today. And start to heal yourself. Healing is such an interesting thing. So many of us still believe healing just means your body. And so many times your body is healed by your soul becoming healed and your mind becoming healed. Let's talk about like faith healers, right? They come into town, they bring the tent, they have the tent and the elixirs. They put on the big show, they wear the white suit. You are healed. Is that a scam? That's not really for me to say today. But just what if you really, really believed in healers, in faith healers, and you went to a faith healer and they touched your forehead and they told you that you were healed, and then you started to heal? And what if it wasn't them? Maybe it was. Maybe they're truly a healer and they're a facilitator. I'm an energetic healer. Maybe they're one of the good ones. But even if they're not, even if they're snake oil salesman supreme, what if that feeling of you really believing that you're being healed allows you to put down the energetic walls that are blocking your healing. Open your channel where we connect to God. Open your channel up for God to bring light through to you, and allow the healing that Spirit, the universe, God wants you to have, but you've blocked for yourself. What if that's how faith healers really work? What if that's how energetic healers really work? What if that's what I do in my healing? If all I do in my healing really is I connect you better to God, so you stop fighting the healing that's supposed to be coming in. You know, it's like if you have a clogged toilet, right? It's not that the toilet doesn't want to flush. The toilet wants to flush. It just needs you to get the clog out of there so it can flush. And that's how a lot of healing works with the universe. God is always there and always wanting to heal you. But a lot of times we block that healing. You know, some people can be in therapy for 30 years and they do chemical treatments and electronic treatments and group therapies, and they go in the barometric pressure tank, which terrifies me, but some people do, and they they try all these hypnosis and they never get any better. But other people do all those things and heal. And what if it's just because the first person has blocked themselves from allowing the energy from God to come in and do its healing work? It's kind of like a lot of times people say to me, you know, how come I don't ever feel my mom around me? She died and I don't ever feel her around me. Well, sometimes when you're grieving so hard for someone who's passed and you want so much for them to contact you, they're actually trying to contact you. They're like, hey, I'm here every day. She just doesn't see me. You're blocking yourself from feeling the love of that person's spirit because you covered yourself with a blanket of grief. And sometimes, for whatever reason, we cover ourselves with blankets of grief, depression, insecurity, lack of hope, lack of faith. And we're no longer letting in that beautiful golden light, that beautiful white light of God, that beautiful lavender light of God that is supposed to come in and heal us. And sometimes all it takes is going to a quiet place and starting to have a conversation with God. And then allowing God to come in and participate in the conversation. Even if in the beginning you just think you're having the conversation with you and you're just talking out loud. There's a reason why prayer works. Prayer works because you're having a conversation with God. Because you're asking God to come in and help you to heal, help you to get the answers, help you to get the education, help you to get the enlightenment. God, please show me the way, we say, right? God, please give me that healing, we say. And that's why they're there. You know, God is like if you're in college and the professor says, here are my office hours. No, really, come and talk to me. I want to help you with this exam. That's how spirit is. It's not like, well, you're kind of on your own. And if you screw up, then you're going to get the pitchfork and the fiery fires of hell. No, it's not like that. It's spirit is saying, we know we dumped you here in this place and put you in a body that's weird. And then said, okay, heal. So our office hours are always, because we're God, so our office hours are 24/7. Please feel free to reach out if you need guidance. But you have to ask. And to ask, you have to get unstuck. And by unstuck, I mean, you just have to start moving forward. You have to be willing not just to say, I want to heal, but to take the steps to heal. To put one foot in front of the other. To say, okay, I know I'm not going to heal overnight. but maybe I could try to heal a little tiny bit every day. And that's what happened for me. I realized that as much healing work as I do on myself, and as much healing work as I do for others, and as much healing work as I blah, blah, blah about, like I'm doing right now, I had developed a pattern in my life with people. And I realized that it went back many decades. And it went back to a time when I was very badly hurt. And on top of that hurt, a lot of things happened. A really tough thing happened career-wise. My mom got sick. My dad was sick. And I thought I was going to lose my mom. My mom had cancer. And in the middle of this all, I had this tremendous heartbreak. And instead of dealing with it and thinking about it, I was like, oh, I got to go on with my life. And I shoved it down. I shoved it down. And then I went, that's done. And I kept moving. But I never healed from it. And so it wasn't done. It was still in there like an abscess. You know, an abscess where the outside skin heals, but underneath the skin, the infection is still bubbling. It was still there, this unhealed thing in me. And I'm still working through it. But because I just shoved it down and went, I'm just going to keep moving. The things you learn when you grow up in a house and you're raised by a tough Irish Scorpio who, was an orphan in the Depression, just keep moving, survive, survive, survive. And I did. I survived. But unfortunately, energetically, I began to attract situations to me in love, in work, in family, friends that were not healthy. I began to attract unhealthy people to me because I had an unhealthiness inside of me that I didn't even know was there because I had never stopped and done that healing work to find out. And that's why it's so important that you dig deep when you heal and you start to work through things. And as soon as I did, and I'm not done, but as soon as I acknowledged what it was and I started, it's like, they'll tell you in recovery, right? The first step is admitting you're an alcoholic. As soon as I admitted, I have a ball of unhealed stuff in me, immediately it started to heal, and immediately things in my life started to heal, and then things in my life started to shift because the universe is a mirror. When God sees us making changes, then the changes begin to happen all around us. And it was like one of those, movies where a machine gets turned on and there's all the cogs and everything starts moving. Like the Oompa Loompas were pumping out the gobstoppers. And within weeks, things were so much different. And then, of course, I got the message from Spirit that this was what this service needed to be about, that I need to go out and talk more about healing. Even when you think you're healed from everything, you still have more healing to do. And that's okay. It's okay to have more healing to do. It's okay that it's not done. When you're still on the earth, what is that wonderful quote by John Lennon? Everything will be all right in the end. If it's not all right, then it's not the end. So that's okay. It's all right that it's not over. It just means that you need to be working on it. Because the worst thing you can do in this life is spiritually stagnate. And the number one way that you spiritually stagnate is you block your connection to Spirit. Because it's all about God. It's all about Spirit. And it's all about that connection. I want you to think about that. Okay? I'm so honored to be a part of this denomination and this church, and to be working here alongside these wonderful spiritual people, and to have this service that I love so much. And we would love if you would help us to help others, and help us to help you to help others. The quickest way, if you're interested in donating, is you go and text to 77977, and make sure you write Saturday Night Spiritual so people know that you're enjoying and getting something from these monthly. And hopefully next month we're going to have, once again, a lot of people and some music online, and you can always catch us everywhere that I am, everywhere the Founders MCC is. You'll see this link and you can watch this. I can't tell you how important it is to me that you all find the healing that you need. And I can't tell you how important it is to me that you hear how I have healed in ways that I never thought I would in such a short time. Just because I found a place that needed to be healed. And it's nothing to be upset about. It's like when you remodel your whole house but the bathroom, and then you're like, oh God, I thought this bathroom was good, but compared to the rest of the house, this bathroom's got to go. The more you heal, the more you realize that you need to be healed. And that's okay. That's part of the overall healing. Right? I'm the Reverend Sheena Metal. This is Saturday Night Spiritual. I'm sorry we've had some technical problems. I don't know what's going on with Facebook, but we keep popping out and popping back in. So while we're out, I try to freeze. So when we come back in, you can't tell, but it probably, or you catch me with the sucking down the water. Reverend Alejandro, how are you? I love you, sweetheart. He says that he's in the middle of a remodel nightmare. So am I with my house and my life. Reverend Alex, both. I'm in the middle. I'm remodeling my house and my life at the same time. Do you know? I've always liked to end these with a poem, so I will. But first I want to say, please find us, SaturdayNightSpiritual.com. That's our community page. SheenaMetalSpiritual.com. That's how you find me. My phone number's on there. Please feel free to text me. My email's on there. Please feel free to reach out. I'm here to help you heal. We are at foundersmcc.org, and we're also at Founders MCC on Facebook and YouTube. Both channels are very active and very wonderful. And we're going to be back here on the second Saturday of September with another service and another sermon and another theme and more ways to make your spiritual, emotional, and physiological life feel and function better, because that's my dream. Reach out in the meantime to somebody of a different spiritual background and ask them about what they believe. Get to know somebody who's different from you. That's your homework. And remember to seek peace, live in light, lead with kindness, always love, embrace unity, work as much as you can to raise your vibration, and always know that you are loved and you are loved. That's maybe the most important thing. All right, Brother Colin wants to snuggle while I read the poem. Look at this snuggly guy. Have you ever met a guy so snuggly in your life? Anybody knows how I choose these poems, and the truth is, I open up my phone and I ask Spirit to throw me something, and most of the time I read these poems. I've never even read it before. Here we go. This is called Butterfly. Sometimes we bend ourselves so out of shape that we look in the mirror and we aren't clear on who we are seeing before us. We place ourselves in a cocoon and close ourselves off from our authenticity, because there is a shadow comfort and safety. But it all starts to feel too tight and restricting. Your soul awakens and all you want to do is fly. Then something just clicks. We spend so much time dressing ourselves up in other people and their preferences that we forget that we have our own unique taste of clothing, our own sense of self. The yin-yang and our whole being in its entirety, that we have hidden all our innate beauty to feel safe, loved, accepted, or to stay under the radar. Afraid and anxious of what people may see when the mask falls off. But you only need to accept and love yourself. There is a beauty both inside and outside of the cocoon that pushed you to grow. Through the darkness and dysfunction, depth and despair, a vivid light spills through and steals you away. When you get comfortable with your own messy and beautiful self. Nothing and no one can block you. You finally see the truth. You fall in line with the beat of your own vibration. You come out of your cocoon, a gorgeous butterfly. Somewhere, there's a place where I belong. It's time to heal yourself. I'm Reverend Sheena Metal. This is Saturday Night Spiritual. That poem, by the way, in case you want to look that up, because I think I might go and put that on my social media. That was called Butterfly. I'll get you the author if you send me a text message. I just completely touched my phone and it turned itself off. I love you all very much. I'll see you next month. Thank you, Founders MCC. Thank you to Pastor Keith, Reverend Alejandro, and the whole gang at Founders MCC. Thank you for tuning in. I love you, and I'll see you next time.